Hello everybody, I hope you're doing good. And as it says in the description, today we are going to talk about flower inclusions in UV resin. Now, a lot of times you have heard me before talking about the fact that it's not a good idea to put opaque inclusions in UV resin because you risk not being able to fully cure the UV resin if the light cannot go through. Hi Sharon, hi Sarah. There are some workarounds about that, and your first bet is the type of mold you're using, because there are molds that are more opaque than the others, and then there are molds that are more see-through than the others. Hi Randy, hi Jessica. And why are we interested in how transparent the molds are? Because obviously if you have UV resin, then an opaque thing, then again UV resin, and the lamp hits from above, whatever is under the opaque inclusion is not going to get cured. But the simplest thing you can do is to simply flip your mold over. Now, with this kind of mold, it's going to be much harder to get the UV light through compared to this kind of mold that you can see it's almost completely transparent. And I do have a full section of molds. If you look in my Amazon influencer store, give me just a second and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. And as I said before, I have all kinds of resins and other things in the influencer store. But if you go to the resin section, because remember, I'm trying to, I hope I didn't get over it, there we go. And in most of them, if they are organized in a specific way, see, it says up here, and I do have notes on some of the things that usually would appear, I hope that, I guess they don't always appear. Yeah, see, like they usually appear like a little text message that tells you something about that specific thing. Now, if we go down to the molds, you can see that there are all kinds of molds here. And yes, I do intend to do a lot more. And I'm looking forward to my April 19th shots so that I can move much faster and I'm not in so much pain. But as you can see, there are several molds that are specific for jewelry with all kinds of inclusions. Like you can see this one, for example, has got several different molds, of which I have, I'm not sure, no, I don't have. These are two. These are mostly for earrings, and as you can see, you have doubles, so you don't have to do one and then cure it and then do the second one. You can do two at the same time. But some of the ones that I have right here are in the influencer store, and they work wonders for all kinds of inclusions. Hi Elaine. So let's go ahead and then talk next. We are going to talk next about, what the heck did I get this here? About how do we put flowers in resin. One thing is that number one, if you want flowers in inclusions in resin, obviously you need small flowers. And my advice to you is the best flowers for this kind of stuff are the weed flowers. And you probably have seen before, let's go back to the display capture, because these weeds have tiny enough flowers to make beautiful and easy to include in UV resin tiny flowers. The ones that I like the most, let me see, I wouldn't go for clover, it's a little bit too bulky, definitely not dandelion, but let's go here and see, because if you go in your yard, you can easily find at least one or two of them. Oh, I hate the slideshows. I'm sorry, just a second. Get away. Let me see. Let's go here. There is one clover that's like a red clover that makes minuscule yellow flowers. So you don't want the plantain, you don't want the dandelion. And there's another thing when we talk about why not bigger flowers. This is that it's a kind of a type related to the clover, but the flowers of it are about 3 millimeters to 4 millimeters in diameter. We definitely don't want ragweed. The purslane makes tiny yellow flowers. These ones are really good as well. And then let me see if I can get here. There's the shepherd's purse that does wonders. Let's see. And these are awesome to gather for making flower inclusions. The chickweed does these tiny flowers. What's called the Japanese clover, that works too. No plantains. Vetch makes beautiful tiny purple flowers. And by the way, vetch, if you weren't aware of that, I did plant vetch a lot in my garden, because it's not exactly a weed, it's very fast spreading, but what it does, it enriches the soil with nutrients, especially nitrogen. Excuse me. Now, the next thing is, can we put fresh flowers in resin? The simple answer is no, not as long as they are fresh and soft. And why is that? Because no matter how much you're going to wash them or clean them or whatever, you're going still to have air and water on the inside of the petals, on the inside, and that means that bacteria can grow and feed, so that means that your flowers will be rotting in the resin. Now, what else can we do? Another thing that we can do is to dry those flowers, but here you have some issues with preserving the colors and preserving the because especially in UV resin you don't want the flat. Yeah, it's true that one of the best methods of preserving flowers is to press dry them, But in generally speaking, UV resin jewelry and art is a 3D art, and you don't want to flatten it. So what other choices do we have? One of the best methods, honestly, is the silica gel method. And silica gel, you know how you get whenever you get whatchamacallit, electronics and stuff, and sometimes even biscuits and candy. There are those tiny silica gel packages. You can actually buy bags of those tiny packages, and your best bet is to, if you decide to open those packages, be very aware that you need to wear gloves, you need to wear a mask, make sure that you don't spill anything, so work over I don't know, paper or vinyl thing that can be easily cleaned. But you don't have to take them out of the package. The way that I normally do, I just put a layer of those, then put the flowers, and then put some shredded paper, all in a little Tupperware container, put the lid on, hide duty, and then put it in the fridge, not in the freezer. You can, if you have a dehydrator, you can dehydrate them. That works pretty good. Or you can freeze dry them in the fridge. If you freeze dry them in the fridge, I would still suggest, the way that I would suggest you to do it would be to get either butcher paper or blotting paper, get a Ziploc bag, and then again shred the paper and kind of half full the Ziploc bag with shredded paper and put your flowers in, and then make sure that you have air in the Ziploc bag and when you close it, so it would be kind of plump. Don't remove the air because you're gonna squish your flowers, because that way the water that will first be drawn out of the flowers and go into the paper. There are a lot of other ways, but they are not as efficient. I mean, I know that I've seen online all kinds of recipes, because what you want to do practically, you want to remove the water from them, because once you remove the water from them, there's not going to be a lot of room for air, and there's not going to be breeding ground for bacteria, so they will not rot. And there's a lot of recipes online. I saw a recipe with cat litter. Trust me, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because I don't know, maybe the cat litter's power of sucking up doesn't work very good. One thing that works up to a moment, and I've tested that, and it works up to a moment, but you have to be right on it to be able to move them, is dehydrating them with salt, with table salt. Because table salt, I mean, of course you can get rock salt and other stuff, but because you're working with all these tiny flowers, rock salt might crush them, and deform them and all that. So what you want to do is to use regular table salt, and do not really cover them because they might get squished. So what you want to do is to put them on like a dessert plate, put a little layer of table salt, put the flowers on top, and then kind of change the salt every hour. And kind of semi works, not exceptionally well. Hi, Karen. The other thing is, and I've been asked a lot of times, well, okay, but most of the little weeds in my garden, they are either white or they are yellow. There are a few that are purplish, but not so much. So what can I do to get color? Do I paint them with acrylics, or what do I do? No, you don't have to do that, and if you try to do that, it's not going to look that good. You know how you can, if you have white flowers, white roses, white lilies, white gardenias, and stuff like that, the way that you can color them, you can put them, hi Tia Lisa, if you can, you put them in a vase with water, and you put some food coloring in the water, and it takes about half an hour until the flower start pulling the food coloring from the water, and your flowers are going to start changing color. So that's your best bet. Just get your little flowers, if they are long enough, to get them with a little bit of a stem, and then use, one of those tiny measuring cups for resin, and put them like that. If you do not, just sacrifice a little Tupperware container and put some food coloring in water in there, and then dump the flowers and make sure that they go in, leave them there for like 10 minutes, and then take them out, dry them, and then proceed to actually drying them for making resin inclusions. Or even easier, you can buy them, which is obviously, let me get on here, let me show you again. So if we go on the inclusion section in my influencer store, of course you can find all kinds of sets that have, some of them even have the resin and inclusions and stuff. You can find them towards the back here. See, there's two of them here, and I think I showed them last time, and I said that one of them actually for the same amount of money gives you twice as much stuff. But again, you can use all kinds of inclusions, and I might even, if my back is not bothering me too bad, I might show you some other inclusions. But let's get to the gritty part. What can we do with them? Now, depending on what you want to do, if you want to do a pendant, you're going to use a larger mold. If you want to do just earrings, you're going to use a smaller mold. The other thing that you can do, and this works if your mold does do good enough stuff, you can unmold and then turn it around. But the problem is that you have to be aware of the fact that if you do that, it is very possible when you have this kind of molds that are not transparent enough, the very bottom might have some irregularities that you might have to sand. Now, can we sand resin? I said before, yes, you can sand resin. Only that in order to sand resin, you're gonna have to go to very high grits, to like a 3000 or even a 5000, and you can buff it afterwards. You will need to use a little bit of silicone oil, and just as a piece of advice, the clay softener works just perfect on UV resin to shine it up. So let's see. Oh, I was asked about this. Now, when it comes to this, it is relatively transparent. The issues I have with it, and I do have some softer ones that are not that transparent. The issue I have with this main one, because there are two kinds. There are the soft. Remember, I was telling you about the soft and the rigid molds. If you get one of these, and be very careful, because this is how they look like. They are in a on something, and here would be the back. These are hard to take the resin out of. Not only that, but they are the best to use with casting resin. You know, the one that you leave for several hours up to a day to harden. That's good to know. Yeah, it's very good to know. Don't worry, it happens to me all the time. So let's try and make, and then I'm going to grab some of the colors as well. Let's try and make a few pendants, and obviously you can do earrings, and let me see, which of them am I going to use. These ones are the same, so these go good for earrings. The thing that really bothers me is that they come with this little thing that supposedly is for the hole to put the jump ring through. I have an issue with that because it's a pain. You have to make sure that you get the resin behind the hole, and then if you need to take it out and flop it or whatever, it's much harder to take it out. What I usually do with this kind of stuff, because I prefer to simply drill the hole for the jump ring or whatever else I'm using. And the thing is that on this kind of stuff, even if you cut off this, you'll still have to make a hole because the front is not going to look that awesome. So I personally prefer the ones like this that do not have these little thingies, because that allows me to use a you know, like an eye screw, or other kinds of bails, even pinch bails, instead of just a jump ring to hang them. But we are going to try with both. So, and then if my back allows me to continue, what I want to show you is how to make, because you'll see in that influencer store there's some very, very fine and delicate ones that you can make actual flowers with. A little pansies. This is the little pansy, and I will show you. And of course you can put these flowers, these resin flowers, you can put them in larger molds, and because they are translucent, they are going to work just beautiful. But let's see, let's first do a very, very simple one, and let me go with this one because I don't want to bother with that little thing. So as you can see, there are some that are a little bit deeper than the others, depending on how deep your mold is. This is what you're going to use for, depending on how deep your mold is. It depends on what type of flowers you can put it inclusions, because the deeper the mold, the more three-dimensional the inclusion can be. But let's make a little, just a simple pendant. So let me make sure that I have where's my tweezers? Because I have tweezers somewhere. At least I knew I had tweezers. Yeah, as I was telling you, it's getting harder and harder to move for me because I didn't have my shots. So I have all kinds of problems Oh, I don't find them. Oh, I found them. Never mind, I found them. Okay, now, just quick and easy. We get the, and I'm just using this because I'm pretty much out of the Ciao Ciao. Remember, I had the surprise of, I had the whole bulk of bottles, and after I went through the first two, when I grabbed the third, it wasn't liquid anymore, so it doesn't have a lot of shelf life. So first place a little bit of resin, enough to kind of cover the bottom. Make sure you let it pour. Another thing that you, when you buy the resin, on some of them it says make sure this is a urethane, it's not an epoxy. Some of them say that they are, if they are high viscosity or low viscosity. The high viscosity, obviously, yeah, I know. The high viscosity usually are much thicker, obviously, than the low viscosity. So let's grab, I'm going to grab just one. This is just parsley, okay? Yes, you can use that kind of stuff. Parsley and dill make beautiful things. Let's actually get it in here properly. Get this back. If you want me to zoom in, let me know. Okay, and I'm going to place a little red one. Oops. And I don't want to mess this up, so let me grab a toothpick, because I made a mistake. I put the leaf in and the flower after, and you're supposed to put the flower after because the flower is the, so let me move the flower and then try and draw this over the flower. Alright, so let me see, do I have other stuff to put here? Yeah, let me get one of these pretty pink things. And you can see they are super delicate. And can we do other stuff in here? Yes, of course we can put other stuff in here, and which I forgot to bring, but I'll just go right now for it. So I'm going to use some ice resin flakes and some iridescent polyester glitter. It's a big difference between, you have to remember, I was telling you that glitter is not all made the same, and your best bet if you want to work with resin is to get the polyester glitter, or transparent mylar and not metallic glitter. So let's grab a few of these. Okay, get up there. And you can put some of them right behind the flower, the whatever is, I mean, I'm not going to put one right behind this flower, but behind the little rosette flower here. And it's going to give an extra oomph to the whole thing. It's going to be very, very pretty. Okay, so now we can try. I'm going to adjust a little bit, because remember, it's glitter. Oops, I got a little bit too much. It's glitter and I don't want it to go all over the place. Okay, and we should be good. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Okay, so remember, this is the back of it. So I have this already that can go in the lamp, and you can see it's going to be nice and thing. But before I do that, of course, I need to put the next layer of resin, because I want them to be nicely encased in resin. Come on. Let's go. Just be careful and first put some drops on the edges, because if you're going to put your first drops in the center, as you usually do with resin, it's going to push all your nice arrangement to the sides. I heard people complaining that, oh my god, UV resin stinks. Well, duh. Hi, Skywalker. Yeah, as good as I can. Okay, let me get this in the lamp. Make sure I don't mess it up. And because a lot of people have asked me what kind of lamp I'm using, and I'm going to get real quick through this whole thing. Going to show you. I think it was this one. And you can find it in my influencer store. It's right here, because I have some flashlights. They also have little levels if you're not sure if your stuff is level. But there are cheaper ones and there are more expensive ones. What you have to know is that the highest the wattage of the lamp, the less you're going to have to keep your pieces in. Like, let's compare these two. Okay, so this is the one that I have, the Aoki Tech, and you notice it's a 78 watts. Not only that, but it has some stuff on the side. Some of the lights are on the sides. They are not only inside. And Aoki has 99 seconds. But if you get, yeah, there are these ones that are much cheaper. And it says 40, 60 timer setting. I had some that had 3 minutes settings, but if you go to it and you look at the, hold on, let me find, where does it say? And there's a newer version, but it says it's much stronger, because this one is 54 watts. I might want to add it. Let's get, it doesn't even say, I guess. There's an LG chip. It used to. I know that it was like a 24 watts or 18 watts. That's why I added it. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to. Oh, 6 watts. 6 watts. So it's a very low. You're gonna have to keep hitting that reset and reset and reset. Okay. So now I just explained. You'll have to watch again. That you, in the beginning, I explained that you cannot really resin fresh flowers because they are going to rot inside the resin. Okay, this is almost done. In the meanwhile, what I was going to show you, and I'm going to have to get up, of course, and get my colors. As I said, I cannot always put everything here because I'm working on other stuff. And there's only so much room, even if it's a big table. I still have, like, on half of it, what I'm working with, my tools and everything. So, okay. This is done. Even my lamp is a very strong lamp. I still go twice through the 99 seconds thing. So let's get this out. It's still a little hot. But there you go. It's a beautiful, super delicate little pendant. And yeah, I didn't blow the bubbles because I think, personally, I think in this kind with flowers in, the same as in the ones with nautical elements, it's better to not blow the bubbles. And what I wanted to do to show you, even if this is a relatively transparent, see what happened when I took it out before doing anything else. There is a little imperfection. So your best bet at this point, if something happens and it's a little sticky, let me actually put it back on here. If that happens, your best bet is you can either leave it like this, because if those little imperfections are very tiny, nobody's going to see them. Nobody goes to your pendant to see, oh my god, you have such a pretty pendant, right? But if you are really bothered by that, as I said, just simply sand it a little bit. Remember, you can always use the modified pedicure wand, and these little discs, they come up to I actually think I know I have 10,000 grit. Not sure, but I think I have some 12,000 or 15,000 grit. So it can go very, 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 very high with it. But let me go ahead and grab the colors before that thing is done. Okay, now let's make first a little pansy set. And these are, remember that you find them in the influencer store. They are, some of them are for UV resin, everything that says transparent. Actually, let's go there to look. Let me close this up. So when we are talking about colors, remember, generally speaking, everything that you see it's in a dark bottle, that's going to be for UV resin. If the bottle is not dark, it's not opaque, that's going to be for casting resin. Now these ones, the casting craft, they are essentially, they are made for polyurethane resin, but they work just fine in epoxy UV. So, and they are made mostly for casting and polyurethane, but they do work because they are so transparent. They do work in UV. The advantage is that compared to the UV specific colors, they are not going to harden on you. But see, and on some of them it actually says UV. The brand that I have here, it is from Amazon. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it again, but there are some that are similar. Like see here, I tried to put first the casting resin colors and then the UV resin colors. And there are actually, you can find colored, this one I think is just plain colored UV, because practically they are. So this is colored epoxy resin. It's already colored and you can have several colors. So let's get back to our thing and see how we can make some really pretty pansies. Okay, so number one, I need to select, so this is a blue, I'm going to use, where's my other screen, I'm going to use a blue, and the ruby is misspelled. So I'm going to use a ruby and a purple. Actually, let me use the lapis blue, not the regular blue. But yeah, you were asking me about organizers. This is an organizer for whatchamacallit, cosmetics, obviously, especially for nail polish. And this is what I use to hold my things. So let's get back in here, make sure that I got my stuff here properly set. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is to grab some wax paper, because I don't want to be spilling resin on my table. It's very hard to clean. Okay, then as you can see, I got a 3 petal and a 2 petal here. All right, they do have the little thingies here, but they are mostly made in order to do to put them together. So let's get, I hope you see well enough, so let's give it a hold on, I forgot to grab my I keep forgetting that these don't have a self thingy, so I'm going to have to actually pull out of this. So first of all, I'm going to grab a little bit of purple not a lot of it. I'm going to put most of it back. I'm going to place a little bit here, right in the middle. Let's do this one too. Okay, I'm going to clean as much as possible because I don't want to be using 3 different disposable syringes for just one thing. Yes, you need a color that is transparent for UV resin, because if you put an opaque pigment in UV resin, it's not going to cure. And that's why they are separated on my Amazon influencer store. Okay, let's get a little bit of this ruby at the base of the 2-petal thingy. As you can see, and generally the pigments for UV resin are not very strong, obviously, because you need to have the light go through them, right? What? Did you hear that desperate meow? That was Finnegan, who decided he didn't get enough attention. I'm amazed. Usually at this time of the day he is sleeping. Okay. And then I'm going to use the blue on both of them. So first let me clean my syringe. And what I usually do, I just go, because some of the air is going to push out stuff from here. And let's get the lapis blue. Yes, it can, and sometimes they don't. This is why you have to be very careful with alcohol inks, because some, but if not most of the alcohol inks have opaque pigments. Trust me, I've experimented with a lot of them, and I actually had molds that I had to throw away because I experimented with some. Actually, let's just do a completely 2-color. I experimented with some alcohol ink, and it never cured. It was impossible to clean. I said, okay, out in the trash you go. Leave that alone, Finnegan. I know, but it's stuff, sticky stuff here. I cannot hold you. I cannot pick you up and hold you. The lapis is a little bit darker than the blue. This is why I chose it. I know. Why are you so coarse? I've never heard you meow so coarsely. Okay. Now what you want to do before doing anything else, because remember, it's very important in what type of room you're doing all this. If you're, and I want this to be very, very delicate, if you are working in a room that's got a lot of light, daylight from the windows, the chances that your UV resin will start curing before you manage to do everything you want to do with it are very high. This is why my craft room has, actually I have those black light blocking blinds thingies, and the lamps that I use don't have UV LEDs and bulbs. So I don't want these to be super thick because I'm going to try and place them in another thing. So now comes the, you want to do this little thing here because you want your purple and you can add more purple if you want to. But you want to have a little bit of design in this area on your little flower. Same here. I might add more purple here. Oh, I didn't pull this all the way through. And usually because the colors are so much more expensive, a lot of times I just back it up with regular uncolored UV resin. And you can do all kinds of designs with that as well. Hold on, let me grab the other blue. And you'll see the difference between the lapis blue and the... Okay, he decided to go to the bathroom. He's got his own personal litter box here. The one that the other two cannot use because they are too large for it. See how much lighter the regular blue is. And then the lapis blue. That's why generally when you get a set of colors, your best bet is to try them just a little droplet. Not going to do much of an effect, but test it before you use it. You know, my heart still skips a bit whenever he goes to pee. Because I'm still worried, I'm getting all worried that he's going to start crying after everything that he's been through last year. I'm really concerned. And whenever he meows with that little bit of scares me. So okay, let's get this all the way to the end as well. And then do that thing. You can bring the blue down. And that's the thing I was asked, for example, can I use sand as inclusion? You can, if you work it properly. You kind of need to go in layers if you want to do that. Got a bit of thing here. Let me put this in the lamp first, and then I'll get back and refill it. In the meantime, we can take another look at the other one that's already done. And with these ones, I'm going to do actually a little tutorial with the flexible UV. So as you can see, it comes up very nice. Normally this I either shave, because you'll always have a little bit of a lip on the back of your piece as you take it out of the mold, and I usually either shave it or sand it so that it would be nice and not cutting. But you can see the back is not too bad, the top is beautiful, and making this kind of earrings looks absolutely fabulous. And you can do your own. As I said, you can buy them. You can use all kinds for this kind of stuff. The other thing that you can buy are all those kind of little flowers for nail art. There's a lot of the stuff used in nail art that can be used in resin and inclusions art. And why I was saying that use only the transparent mylar flakes and the polyester glitter, obviously because they are transparent, so they will not interfere with the curing of the UV resin. Obviously, those are almost done. We are going to work on that, and I do have a few things prepared, but again, as I said, I have some issues moving, and they are getting pain and issues, they're getting worse by the day, so most likely I won't be able to do a lot of stuff until I get my shots. Fortunately, it's only, I'm getting them on the 19th, so it's not much longer to wait. So, okay, so I got this, and as I said, I'm going to complete it with some regular resin, which I don't need a lot of. I need just a little bit. It depends on how thick or thin you want these, right? The best bet, actually I'm going to keep them thin. It's much easier. So let's just get them out. See how delicate and beautiful they are? Can you use these directly for earrings? Absolutely. And they will look like... Yes, I always try. I go through that influencer store. I spend several hours a week trying to keep it updated, which is not always easy. Okay, so remember, your best bet is to get them together. What you do to get them fully together, you can either use, and I'll show you how, you can either use a little bit of UV resin to glue them together, or you can simply use wire to put them together. Let me see which of these would be the best. This on the other side. And this would work pretty good. So like this, it would be really, really pretty. Give me a second to grab some wire and some pliers. Let me just grab jump rings. Much easier. I just grabbed some jump rings because my back is starting to hurt, so I won't be able to be on much longer, so just to be on the safe side. So as I said, you can glue them, just put a little dab of UV resin between them and then put it back in the lamp, or you can directly connect them with jump rings, or you can do both. And then connect them to a little chain that goes down from the so let's consider that I glued them, right? What you need to do is to use a jump ring and just put it into, and I'm sorry I cannot sit on the chair much longer, but I will show you how to do. I will post a short, I have to tape a short tutorial with these, and I'm going to tape it with soft, because with the soft they come up even prettier, and I'll show you a trick on how to actually, after you put it, you can actually have the petals curl, and I'll show you how to do that. But for today I'm going to call it a day. I've been on for an hour and I'm starting to hurt, and I hope that you will try all this by yourself, because I'm telling you the stuff that you can use. I wanted to show you for tortoise shell, turtle shell and stuff, but why, and some for amber and stuff, but why don't we do that next Sunday, okay? Because I have to move much less with the resin, so until I get the shots, I'm going to do next Sunday again a resin tutorial live, so we'll do that next Sunday. And in the meantime, I'm going to sometime later put these together and then post some photos on both on the community tab and on the Facebook page. Okay, and if you came later, please rewatch the beginning, because I explained how to do the flowers and what kind of flowers to use. And don't forget to thumb up, and fingers crossed that I get my shots and everything will be much easier for me to post up tutorials for you. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday. And next Sunday we have a giveaway, another $100 clay certificate, gift certificate for PolyClay play. Okay, so you can buy Pardo, and there's already Cernit there. Pardo should take another 2 or 3 weeks, but if you want a good Cernit with a very good price, go and visit. Don't forget to use my my affiliate link. You find everything on my channel. Give me just a second. If you go on my channel and if you go to the about, you can see all my affiliate links and everything, and you can go from there, and that helps me have giveaways and test all kinds of stuff. Okay, have a wonderful weekend, what's left of you, and I'll see you next Sunday. Goodbye.